Today, we're counting down my top 5 practical effects artists from the 80s and 90s. So if you're like me, you grew up watching horror movies in the 80s and 90s. You probably remember the monsters, the gore, creatures, and the nightmares that kept us up at night. But what you might not remember are the artists behind these effects. Before CGI took over, these artists were creating monsters with latex, prosthetics, animatronics, makeup, blood, slime, just a whole lot of imagination. And I love it. So today I'm counting down the top 5 practical artists from the 80s and 90s. And trust me, these artists were responsible for most of the disturbing images ever put on film. So let's get into it. You ready? Let's roll on with number 5, Stan Winston. Now we're starting with a legend. Stan Winston. His work helped define creatures for an entire generation. He worked on films like Aliens, Predator, Terminator 2, and Jurassic Park. And while his work went far beyond horror, his contribution to practical creature effects is impossible to ignore. He showed audience that practical creatures could be terrifying, believable, and incredibly expensive. The xenomorphs in Aliens? You know that was a pretty penny right there. The Predator, the T-1000 and T-800 and Terminator 2, classics. Ooh. And of course, the dinosaurs in Jurassic Park. These weren't just monsters. They felt real. Real as fuck. And that's the magic of practical effects. I mean, come on. Let's roll back to Terminator 2 with the T-1000 and T-800. That is fucking genius. Number 4, David B. Miller. Now let's talk about one of the horror's most recognizable faces, Freddy Krueger. David B. Miller was responsible for the original makeup design that helped transform Robert Englund into Freddy in A Nightmare on Elm Street. And think about it. What makes Freddy's face so effective? That burned, melted, textured, his skin, and then the asymmetrics going on. But most importantly, the makeup still allowed Robert Englund to act through it. Like, come on, I see you. Freddy wasn't just a monster. He had personality, charisma, and this smile and laugh. You're like, it's so creepy. But it was so beautiful. He could make these facial expressions, and that makeup became one of the most iconic horror designs of all time. Miller also worked on films including, Night of the Comet, Cocoon, and The Terminator. And I'm talking about the first one, okay? So whenever you see Freddy's face, creepy shit, remember the artist who helped bring the nightmare to life. You see what I did there? Number 3, Bob Kane. Now we're getting into some serious nightmare fuel. Bob Kane, thank you. If you've ever looked at a Cenobite and thought, who the fuck came up with this? Like, who came up with these designs? It was your boy Bob Kane. Kane served as the special makeup effects design on Hellraiser and worked with his team at, I believe it's called Imagine Animation, to create the film's disturbing creatures and practical effects. And let's talk about the Cenobites, because you know I love talking about me some Cenobites. They didn't look like traditional movie monsters. They looked like something that had escaped another dimension, aka hell, or some freaknik hell. The leather, the surgical imagery, the nails, like he had all those nails, come on, pinhead, the mutilated flesh, like everything about them was disturbing. And then there's Frank Cotton's his resurrection of the movie when he made the fifth one. The sequence remains one of the most memorable practical effects transformations in horror. King continued his work on Hellbound, Hellraiser 2, Nightbreed, Candyman, and Hellraiser 3. So if you're talking about practical effects that permanently changed horror imagery, Bob King, he definitely belongs on this list. Number 2, let's get into it. Rob Bottin. Now we're talking about one of the absolute masters. Rob Bottin. I don't know where you came up with this stuff, bro, but if you've seen the movie The Thing, the original one, you already know why he is on this list. Bottin's work on John Carpenter's 1982 masterpiece is legendary. The dog transformation, that chest mouthpiece, the spider head, the split face creature, the exploding bodies. I mean, as you keep watching the movie, it just gets worse and worse and worse. Like, bro, where are you coming up with this stuff? And that's exactly why it works. I fucking love it. The creatures don't feel like something added into a movie later. Like, oh, okay, let's check off the list. We need monsters. They feel like they're physically existing inside this scene. Like, they belong in this movie. Biden also worked on The Howling, The Fog, RoboCop, and Total Recall. I'm like, okay, I see you. But for horror fans, The Thing, that is the crown jewel right there. Because decades later, people are still talking about those practical effects. And that's the ultimate test. Like, oh my goodness. Can we go back to that little head thing? Just at number 1, Screaming Mad George. Yes, he is number 1. And I'm going with you. I'm taking you there. Like, hear me out, guys. Screaming Mad George. If you haven't seen the movie Society, you need to. Because this movie contains one of the wildest practical effects sequences in horror history. That infamous shunting. Yeah, I can't wish that on my worst enemy. Commence the shunting. I mean, bodies stretch, skin pulling apart, people merge together, like you got the magnifying glass and melted your little army men. Like, flesh becomes completely disordered. And somehow, it's both disgusting but fascinating. Screaming Mad George wasn't interested in simply making something look scary. He wanted to create something surreal, like out of your imagination, something you can't even just picture. And this was definitely nightmare fueled. He also worked on films like Big Trouble in Little China, A Nightmare on Elm Street Part 3, and also A Nightmare on Elm Street Part 4. And also a classic, Tales from the Hood. And his work is perfect example of why practical effects become so loved through generations. Because you're looking at something that was physically created. Not that CGI, not that AI. Like, someone sculpted these body parts. Someone designed these transformations. Someone stood on set and made the impossible happen. You hear me? So let's get back to the practical effects. Stop the AI, please. All right, let me get off my soapbox. So those are my top 5 practical effects artists of the 80s and 90s. We got Stan Winston, David B. Miller, Bob Keane, Rob Bottin, and Screaming Mad George. But now I want to hear from you guys. Who did I leave off this list? You may not know the artist, but you might know the movie and want to know, hey, who was the practical effects on this one movie? Was it Rick Baker? We also got Greg Cannon, and there's more practical effects people I gotta bring up. But drop your favorite practical effects artists in the comments, or favorite practical effects in a movie. Kind of like, what is that? Basket Case. Who did that? I know. If you haven't seen Basket Case, you got to check it out with the little Belial and the puppetry. Maybe he belongs on this list. Maybe higher up, like maybe number 7. But anyways, thank you for tuning in and stay spooky.